I am old. I used to think it had to do with the calendar. It doesn't. It's something you know. It's something that happens. You're young, and then you wake up one day. Are you shitting me? 2 slices of mushroom pizza, and it's come to this. Nothing irritates me more than when I'm watching a celebrity on TV who's about my age, and they go, you know, I just turned 64 and I've never felt better in my life. Really, douchebag? This is the best you've ever felt? What was your childhood like? Did you have polio and they kept you in an iron lung until you were 21? And then when you got out, they covered you with ticks and your parents just got the last one off yesterday? I don't know what you see when you look in a mirror, but I'm looking at you and you look like shit. You've got 10 hairs and 3 are coming out of your nose.
Even if you don't want to live until you're a shriveled version of your former self, surely you want to feel good until your dying day. You will need a good diet, an exercise program, diligence, strong social ties, stress relief, cocktails, laughter, a good relationship with your mom, and a forgiving nature. Step 1. Put down the burger and step away from the fries. People who eat mostly fruits, vegetables, and fish, and fewer fats and sugars live longer. Colorful foods have more nutrients than their paler counterparts. Step 2. Get out there and move. Being physically active helps people live longer, largely because it cuts heart disease rates. Research suggests that every hour of exercise you do could add 2 hours to your life. Step 3. Work hard. People with a strong work ethic tend to live longer, according to an Australian study of centenarians. Step 4. Don't be a loner. People with strong social ties are more likely to party on into old age. Step 5. Find a way to handle stress. Step 6. Enjoy a drink every day. Italian researchers found that moderate drinkers live about 2 years longer than both heavy drinkers and those who rarely or never imbibe. Step 7. Laugh a lot. Research has found that a good sense of humor is essential to a long life because it lowers stress levels and boosts the body's immune system. Step 8. Stay close to your mother. A Harvard study found that 91% of people who were not close with their mothers developed a serious disease by midlife. Step 9. Learn how to forgive. Those who do are less prone to heart disease, cancer, and strokes. Did you know people over 100 years old are one of the fastest growing populations in the United States?
Ingredients to that formula in places around the world called blue zones. Blue zones are places around the world where people live the longest, healthiest lives, oftentimes to 100 years or even older. Over the past few years, myself, Dan Buettner, and a group of world-renowned experts from National Geographic, universities, and medical institutions put together the Blue Zones Expedition Team. We've journeyed to these longevity hotspots to identify threads in lifestyles, diet, outlook, and stress coping mechanisms of some of the world's oldest, healthiest people. We wanted to find out what these people were doing in order to gain these extra healthy years. Our first Blue Zone visit took us to the island of Sardinia, about 125 miles off the coast of Italy. For 4 weeks, I led an expedition up to the mountainous Nuoro province. We used a method developed by scientists at the National Institute on Aging to interview 20 centenarians, mostly men, since Sardinia has the most male centenarians than any place else in the world. We studied how these men shed stress, how they interacted, what their religion was, how medicine played into it. We wanted to shed some light on how they lived to be so old and healthy, perhaps learn from some of their lessons. The person who most exemplified the Blue Zone centenarians was a man named Tonino Tola. This is a guy who loved to walk. Each day he walked between 5 and 7 miles, mostly tending sheep, but also visiting his friends and his family. Like most Sardinians, he also loved his wine. He drank small amounts of it all day long, a little bit during the morning, at lunch, and then again when he met with his friends at day's end. Sardinian Continental wine, as it turns out, has the highest level of polyphenols in the world. Tonino also ate largely a plant-based diet, except on Sundays when he ate a little bit of meat. Most importantly, he loved his family. Everything he did was for them. And now they help take care of Tonino. As we recently learned, people who live in strong families live 2 to 4 years longer than people who don't. Our next stop was Loma Linda, California, about 70 miles east of Los Angeles in the San Bernardino Valley. Loma Linda is more of a cultural blue zone than it is a geographic one. It's home to the greatest concentration of Seventh-day Adventists in the world. We know that Adventist women who most strictly follow the recommendations of their church live about 8 years longer than their American counterparts. And men live almost 11 years longer. Their diet is taken directly out of the Bible. Genesis chapter 1. They avoid meat, eat mostly plant-based foods like nuts, soy, whole grain, and wheats. They avoid alcohol and tobacco, so they're not big partiers, but it's working for them. Every week they have a 24-hour period between sundown Friday and sundown Saturday. They call it sort of a sanctuarian time. It's their Sabbath. During this time they focus on their God, on their family, and they take long walks through nature. One of my favorite Adventists was a 93-year-old multi-millionaire named Ellsworth Wareham. When Ellsworth wanted to build a fence in his backyard, the contractor quoted him $5,000. He said, well, for that price, I'll just do it myself. So he went out there with shovels, concrete, heavy poles, and for the next 2 days labored away. On the third day, he ended up in the hospital, but not as the patient, but as the surgeon, doing open-heart surgery. And then there's my favorite, Marge Jatan, who at 101 starts her day riding her bike and pumping iron. She then gets into her 1994 Cadillac Seville, where she barrels down the San Bernardino Freeway. She volunteers for 7 different organizations, including a senior citizen daycare center, where most of the residents are 30 years younger than she is. Now that's vitality. We found the world's longevity all-stars 800 miles south of Tokyo on the island of Okinawa, specifically a tiny peninsula called Motobu. This is the area that has the highest disability-free life expectancy in the world. In other words, these people enjoy the longest, healthiest lives of anybody else. Here, there are 5 times as many centenarians than we have in the U.S. They live an average of 7 years longer than Americans, and they suffer about 1/5 the rate of the cancers that kill us, and have 1/6 the rate of cardiovascular disease. These are people who have something to teach us. Why? Well, to start with, Okinawans eat a plant-based diet, including about 8 times the amount of tofu that we do. Tofu hasn't gained popularity in America, but is arguably the world's most perfect food. Several studies suggest that eating the right amount and the right kinds of tofu can reduce your chances of getting cancer and heart disease. It may even help women's skin look younger. And then, there's this thing Okinawans call hara hachibu, which is an adage that reminds them to push themselves away from the table when their stomachs are 80% full. If Americans could just stop eating when their stomachs were 80% full, we would lose an average of 17 pounds apiece every year. Next, we have this notion of ikigai. In America, we tend to divide our lives into 2 phases. We have the work phase and then the retirement phase. But in Okinawa, there's only one phase. They don't even have a word for retirement. Ikigai means the reason for which I wake up in the morning. And this notion imbues their entire life. It's this sense of purpose that I believe helps propel people past their 100th birthday with vigor and vitality. My favorite centenarian in Okinawa is an absolute legend. She's 104-year-old Ushi Okashima. She just got a job 2 years ago working at a roadside market where she's really a celebrity figure. She wakes up every day, prepares her own food. At noon, she lunches with her children. She may head out into her garden for a couple hours. At 5 o'clock, her friends come over. They share a little bit of sake wine, catch up on the village gossip. And then she's in bed at 9 o'clock every night. time spent with Ushi, even if it's just a few moments, is absolutely magical. She possesses a calmness and a wisdom that is truly inspiring. From our experiences with centenarians, the Blue Zone Expedition team has assembled 8 simple secrets that we believe can help the average American get up to 8 good years of life. First, eat a plant-based diet. Emphasize nuts, beans, and some tofu. It doesn't mean you can't eat any meat at all. It just means limited portions twice a week. Number 2, get regular low-intensity exercise. The key for the long run is not doing marathons, not pumping iron. It's low-intensity things like gardening or walking with your friends. Or I think the best thing is playing with your children. Not only do you get the physical activity, but you also better the relationship with your children. Number 3, invest in family. That doesn't mean being an ATM for your children, but rather it does mean maybe knocking off of work a couple hours early to spend that time with your kids. Number 4, practice a communal faith. It doesn't matter if you're Muslim, Christian, or Jewish. The point is that once a week or so, you come together as a community. You're much less likely to engage in risky behaviors, and you have scheduled meditation every week. That reduces stress. Number 5, identify what your sense of purpose is. The Okinawans call it ikigai, the reason for which they wake up in the morning. This sense of purpose seems to propel people to their 90s, even their 100s. Number 6, hara hachibu. This simple reminder to push yourself away from the table when your stomach is 80% full will not only help you reach age 100, it'll help you do so fit and thin. Number 7, you can feel free to drink a little bit of wine at the end of every day. People who drink 1 to 2 glasses of wine a day live longer than people who don't drink at all. Number 8, build a personal longevity culture. These spry centenarians never belonged to a gym. They never signed up for any diet program. But what they all had in common is they either all were born into or consciously joined a group of people who help reinforce the right behaviors. Science has not figured out how we can turn back our body's clock, but we can all get more good years out of life and more life out of our years. The answers lie with the time-honored practices of the world's longest-lived people. These are the centenarians we met in the Blue Zones. Exploring the world's longest-lived cultures can change our lives. Their stories can move us, motivate us, teach us. All we need to do is take the time to listen. Live large.
This morning on Secrets to Living Younger and Longer, the science of youth. Here now with some tips is CBS News technology correspondent Daniel Sieber. Good morning, Daniel.
Good morning, Larry.
I want to know about this.
I know, right? This sounds pretty appealing, living longer. But if you were born in 1900, your life expectancy would have been just 47 years. And today that number's up to 78 years. But many scientists believe we could be living much longer than that in the not-too-distant future. The explorer Ponce de Leon never found that fountain of youth, but today scientists are continuing that search, and many believe it's just a matter of time.
I would say there's a pretty good chance, actually, that something will come along, some pill that you could take, that will keep you young longer.
At the University of California, San Francisco, Dr. Cynthia Kenyon has found a way to extend life. By manipulating genes, she's been able to make worms live 6 times longer than normal.
If you look at the individual tissues in the worms, they look young. So it's like a miracle, except it's not a miracle, it's science. We change one gene, and a worm that would have been dead is still young.
Forceps too? Mm-hmm. So if you look at a medical dictionary, aging is a set of diseases that most people get as they get older. And the reason we call it aging is because most of us get these diseases.
Dr. David Sinclair runs a research company in Massachusetts that's testing a substance he hopes will prevent age-related diseases. It's called resveratrol, and trace amounts are found in red wine.
The grape skin actually makes a lot of the resveratrol, and that protects the plant against invading diseases. And by ingesting this molecule in large amounts, we activate the same defense program.
In tests on mice, a concentrated form of resveratrol produced amazing results.
Last year we published that these mice were protected against all the aspects of aging that we could look at, from cardiovascular disease to things like diabetes.
But many people aren't willing to wait for researchers to find answers. Instead, they turn to a growing number of anti-aging supplements.
Everyone listening to this, you too can change your rate of aging dramatically and improve your quality of life as you get older.
Dr. Michael Roizen is the co-author of You Staying Young. He says how we live dramatically affects how long we live.
About 70% of how long and well we live are our choices, and 30% are our genes.
Thank you.
So you can do a whole bunch of things now. The most important factor is your management of stress. That is, stress is the greatest ager. It affects every one of our aging areas, and you get to control it by your response. The second greatest thing in aging is blood pressure. So know your blood pressure number. 115/75 is where your arteries age the least.
Dr. Roizen says something as simple as walking 30 minutes a day can add years.
So it decreases heart disease, it decreases memory loss, it decreases almost all of the cancers and recurrence rates of cancers. So it is magical.
Aging experts say a healthy lifestyle is the best way to make it to the day when a scientific breakthrough can extend our lives even longer.
What's the chance that one of these breakthroughs will occur? I think the chance is greater than 50-50 that we sit here in 20 years and talk not about living to 150, but could we live much longer than that?
Amazing possibilities. What's interesting is that all of the aging experts and researchers that we spoke to believe a scientific breakthrough of some kind is entirely possible, if not entirely likely. So at this point, it's sort of like there's no fountain of youth necessarily, but maybe a fountain of living well.
Yeah, all right, so what did you find? Folks our age, late 30s, in your case 36, 39, right. How old can we expect to live? It's
quite possible that we could live to be 100 or a little more, and of course you want to live it in a healthy way, not in a nursing home for most of those years.
Maybe some more red wine?
Yeah, you'd have to drink about 1,000 glasses a day to get that effect, so maybe not such a good idea. But.
Even me, no can do. All right, Daniel Sieber.
And then for those antioxidants, again, get a supplement that will boost your body's production of antioxidants, such as Protandim, which boosts antioxidants in your body up to 54% and reduces their...
Non-stop energy. Well, I cannot even imagine it. Just for example, last night, you did a show last night that was 90 minutes starting at 7:30.
That's right.
Then you went through that. Then you came here. You're here this morning.
That's right.
Doing all of this.
It's non-stop. I don't sleep anymore.
No. All right, so where do you get the energy? Seriously, I mean, look at you.
Well,
I mean, we've known each other a long time. Yeah. We've passed. You don't ever get older.
Well, thank you. It's quite funny because, you know, people are kind of shocked when they hear that I'm 54 years old, and they say, how do you keep your youth? I have found something, Dr. Phil, that I think is the closest thing to the fountain of youth.
Oh, you do have a secret.
I have a secret, and I've never really talked about it. I've been doing this for the last 2 years. It's called Protandim, and it works.
This is what I call a vertical disruption. It totally challenges their paradigm.
We're going to completely turn conventional wisdom on its ear.
It is one of those cutting-edge discoveries.
It's enormous what this can do for health.
It's a lot bigger than us. It's a lot bigger than all of us collectively.
And that's why there's so many universities that are studying it.
Protandim has been reported on ABC, NBC, and PBS, featured in the Wall Street Journal, and described in CNN Chief Medical Correspondent Dr. Sanjay Gupta's book, Chasing Life, The Quest for Immortality. Protandim's creator, Dr. Joe McCord, is a world-renowned scientist and a pioneer in free radical biology. Dr. McCord is the discoverer of the key anti-aging enzyme superoxide dismutase. His role in the discovery is so significant, the enzyme is measured in McCord units.
When I was a graduate student at Duke University, my thesis research was the discovery of a new enzyme called superoxide dismutase. This enzyme had the odd function of scavenging free radicals in the human body.
For Dr. McCord's discovery of superoxide dismutase and his contributions in free radical biology, he was awarded the Elliott Cresson Medal. This medal is awarded to distinguished inventors and scientists. Putting Dr. McCord in the same company as Pierre and Marie Curie, Alexander Graham Bell, Orville Wright, and Henry Ford. Dr. Joe McCord has devoted his life's work to the study of free radicals, their role in aging, and the many problems associated with aging.
Free radicals were known to be involved in a lot of damaging chemistry that's involved in the decay and the rusting phenomenon of metals.
When you break it down to what free radicals are, that is cellular damage at the cellular level. It's damaging of the cells, and that damage that is caused, that's what oxidative stress is. Oxidative stress, in layman's terms, is rusting from the inside out.
Consumers spend billions every year on antioxidants in the form of food and supplements, hoping to reduce these free radicals. But antioxidants from these sources can only eliminate one free radical for every one antioxidant molecule you consume. Protandim is scientifically proven to slow cellular damage caused by free radicals. Taking one Protandim 1 time per day for 30 days turns on these anti-aging enzymes in your body. Your own enzymes eliminate free radicals at a rate of 1 million to 1.
So 1 molecule of superoxide dismutase can react with up to 1 million free radicals per second, every second.
Protandim is a breakthrough poised to revolutionize the anti-aging industry. It is an entirely new and scientifically validated way to fight aging, reducing your oxidative stress levels to that of a 20-year-old after just 30 days.
We found, as many other scientists had documented, that there is a progressive increase in T-bars in your blood the older you get. When these same people took Protandim for 30 days, the age-dependent increase in lipid peroxidation was completely eliminated. After Protandim, we could no longer distinguish the 80-year-old from the 20-year-old. The statement that Protandim supplementation can completely eliminate the age-dependent increase in oxidative stress is a very powerful statement. It's been peer-reviewed. It's even been scrutinized by review regulatory agencies and completely validated.
Protandim is protected by 3 U.S. patents. Universities around the world continue to initiate and fund their own studies of Protandim and to evaluate how this anti-aging breakthrough can prevent and improve many of the hundreds of problems associated with aging.
Using the product, you're gonna definitely see the benefits in your life, and you can also know with surety, because of these studies that have been published, that it's going to do what you think it's going to do and what it's supposed to do.
I've never seen any product that has the kind of science and credibility that comes with Protandim.
I think the singular most amazing thing is that it's a product that has substance, science, history, human application like nothing else that our industry has seen.
Well, Protandim has such a wonderful story. The science is real. It's been borne out by clinical studies and countless research projects, but it requires a story to tell.
There are events that have happened in our history that have changed the course of history. You can look back and you can see it. When Thomas Edison invented the light bulb, it changed the course of history. When Henry Ford invented the car again, it altered history. There's no question that this product is going to alter history. There's no question.
Not only do we have a true anti-aging product that's tested, backed up by science, we also have the inventor, the very person, Dr. McCord, with us as well. So we have Dr. McCord, which is Edison, and we've got the light, which is the true anti-aging product in the Protandim.
It's called Protandim, and it works.